Welcome to the Offshore Club's most riveting and revealing offshore lifestyle podcast, Open Mike, with Mike Cobb. For more than 20 years, Mike has worked and lived in Caribbean countries from north to south and the Atlantic to the Pacific. Nobody knows it better. And now, here is your offshore ambassador at large, Mike Cobb.
Hi, everybody. Mike Cobb with ECI here. I've got Rachel Jensen with me today. Rachel, our friend Carter, hates when people talk about COVID. So I just, sorry, Carter, we're going to talk about COVID. But you know, it's real. It's here. It's impacted everything. It's impacted our economy. It's impacted how we live. Sadly, 400 and some thousand people have died today. I mean, this is a horrible, tragic situation for people in the United States. I don't know what the worldwide number is, but you know, many people have been touched horrifically with death, all the way through lightly with, you know, maybe inconvenience, right? But it's really touched everyone around the globe for the most part. You know, the piece that's relevant to this business is how it has affected migration and emigration broadly. Let me just say it that way. But I'd actually like to step back and come at this from a different perspective. I look at it anthropologically and I say, all right, by the way, there's a great book, Guns, Germs, and Steel. Phenomenal read. I don't know if you've ever read it, Rachel. Put it on your list.
On my bookshelf.
It's on your bookshelf. Excellent. Have you read it?
Not yet. It's on the bookshelf. Got to dust it.
All right, dust it off. Okay, great book. You know, it's really a great anthropology book. It talks about how society has evolved all the way back from hunter-gatherer into this agricultural set into industrial and then post-industrial. And they reference this idea of post-industrial. But, you know, big transitions, hunter-gatherer to agricultural, right? Where we settled down. And this agricultural thing lasted for whatever, 5,000-6,000 years, right? Up until, you know, maybe the late 1600s, early 1700s, and we started into this industrial revolution, which really moved all the way through the 50s and 1950s and 1960s, when the computer started to really come out. And even in the early 70s, people like Nesbitt and Toffler were talking about this, their books, Megatrends and Future Shock. They were talking about this post-industrial society. They could see it. They had this vision of what that would look like. And as we moved into the 1990s and 2000 and 2010 teens, right, we had this real transition of technology to allow this kind of thing to happen. Zoom calls, like we could do GoToMeeting, or Zoom was around, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. It might not have been super because of bandwidth, but it was there. But these institutions and traditions remained industrial. So for example, think about our school systems. Kids went to school and started with the bell. They changed classes when the bells rang. They sat in desks lined up in straight lines, looking at a blackboard where the teacher wrote on stuff, right? I mean, this was how school was reinvented in the 1920s after Frederick Winslow Taylor came along and fixed up Henry Ford's assembly line. You know, Taylor was hired by Ford to come in and make Ford's assembly line as efficient as possible. Bells, whistles, you know, human engineering kind of thing. Well, schools were modeled on that. Look, our companies ran pretty much the same way. Everyone got in a car, drove to an office in horrible rush hour traffic, walked in before 8 o'clock, right? They had a break at 10 o'clock at the cooler. They had their lunch at 12. I mean, like very industrial. But why? Why do we have to be industrial? We don't, right? We don't. We have the technology to be post-industrial. Well, COVID shook that up and has changed society in a very profound way. We have finally shaken free of many, not all, but many of these old customs and traditions, like, you know, having to be at school or at work. This is huge. This is huge. So before, you know, a year ago or a year and a half ago, I'm sure bosses all over the world, the United States and the world, said to themselves, you know, I'm pretty sure my people could work from home. We have the technology to let them do that. But you know what? I'm not sure if they're not going to be sitting on the couch watching Game of Thrones all day, right? Or binge watching some favorite program or whatever it is, right? How do I make sure my workers are doing what they're supposed to do? And from a worker standpoint, the worker's like, I'm not asking my boss if I can work from home. He thinks I'm going to be lazy and not work. And like, I'm not going to put my career at risk to ask for that, even though like it'd be a heck of a lot more efficient if I did that. Well, COVID, boom, all of a sudden people are working from home. And guess what? Productivity is about the same or higher in many cases. Sometimes it's lower, it's varied, but in many cases, productivity is higher because people aren't spending an hour to 2 hours each day in the car on the way to the office and back. They can put that work into productive time for the business, right? So it's incredible. And the other thing is now bosses know that their employees can be productive. So the employee knows, the bosses knows. What does that mean? Well, starting last March, actually April, May, the National Association of Realtors did a survey of people moving out of cities, right? People moving out of New York, out of San Francisco, out of Chicago, the big metropolitan areas, and moving to suburbs and even more smaller towns outside. Look, this was in reaction to, look, the cities are, I'm going to get COVID. It's contagious, right? I don't have to be here. My boss says I can't come to work anyway. I might as well move out to this little town or the suburbs. So people did. Well, the National Association of Realtors measured that. It is absolutely empirical. It happened. Well, the question I have, and I think many people have, and many people are starting to ask themselves is, well, look, if I'm from New York or Chicago and it's snowing and I want to move to a little suburb, 30 miles away, it's still snowing. I still got to shovel snow in the morning, right? If I can work from that little suburb 30, 40 miles away, why can't I work from Belize, where you are, Rachel, or Costa Rica, or Panama, or Portugal, or wherever? If I can work from home, home can really be anywhere. This is the first time in human history that work and the location of work have been disassociated with such pronouncement. This is incredible. This is, I mean, paradigm's too small of a word. This is huge, huge shift. Fundamental shift in how society is. Well, you, Rachel, are in a great position. I know you've already had people calling up. Your tiny home communities have gone gangbusters because all of a sudden people say, you know what? I can spend $100 grand or $125,000. I can have a beautiful home in Belize or Nicaragua or Panama, and I can live down there part of the year and I can do my work. I can live up in the States. It's already happening. People are already doing this. But as that consciousness and that recognition of what's possible continues to soak in, and people see their friends and neighbors going overseas and doing this, right? All of a sudden, more people are going to go, wait a minute, I can do that too. And you've made it affordable. I know that you and your programs have made it very affordable and very easy for people to take advantage of this notion that I can live anywhere, so I'm going to choose to live a place I want to live for the weather I want, the activities I want, and take advantage of that because I can still do my job from there. It's now proven. It's now fact. Anyway, big, huge societal shift. It's to me, it's really the same as agriculture to industrial. This is now the, I would say, final big shakeout of industrial to post-industrial, the cultures, the norms, the societal customs that kind of locked us into this old way of doing things, when the technology like this lets us do something very, very different and something much more freeing. And, I love the word freedom. I'm a libertarian. I love the word freedom. This shift has given us a freedom as human beings that we've really never, ever had in human history. The ability to break from work and the location of work is powerful and hugely freeing. So I am very excited about it. I think maybe you could tell by my my enthusiasm. This is exciting. This is wonderful. This is tremendous. It's sad that it took COVID to do it, but it has been done. And if there is a silver lining, I would say that that's probably it.
It's very true, Mike. And I'm based here in Belize on Ambergris Key, and I have met so many people in these last few months that are doing just that. They are able to work from their computer. They booked a plane ticket down. They don't know how long they're staying for. Maybe it'll be a month, maybe it'll be 6 months. And a couple of the friends I've made who are in that digital nomad community and space are looking at real estate here now as a result too, which is pretty neat, because you find a community you like, you adapt to it, you feel comfortable, and then you realize I can live here for part of the year, or I can buy something now and have it be an investment property and then come back down as I'm able to. So there is definitely this shift, and the reality is that people are able to be freer now in terms of mobility and location, and be wherever you want to be. I'm sitting here next to a beach. Maybe a beach is not for you. Maybe the Caribbean is not for you. Maybe you're looking for the Pacific, or more of a cooler tropical highlands community. And we've been really excited to be able to help people who are looking for a nice property and not have to break the bank to buy it. You're able to get a property close to the Pacific waters for $93,000. And so there are really affordable options for folks. And, it's up to you. Take that chance, take that opportunity to spend a few months in another country if you are able to work from your computer, or at least think about serving these digital nomads who are coming down for months at a time. We're seeing that there is a growth already, and there's going to continue to be a growth. So you're able to at least serve these renters who are looking for long-term accommodations.
What do you mean by serve them, Rachel? I mean, I know what that means, but flesh it out a little bit.
Yeah, no, of course, own the real estate. I mean, a lot of us, I think at this point, are looking to diversify our holdings. We may not necessarily all believe in the stock market or putting all your eggs in one basket. And by owning real estate in another country, you're able to accomplish a lot of having that plan B, having a landing pad. And maybe you're not planning to live down here at this point, but you can at least own the property now, put it into the rental market, have the digital nomads come down, spend 3, 4, 5, 6 months there, and you're able to profit from it. So a lot of great opportunities for you to get involved, even if you're not able to make the move down at this point.
Hey, Rachel, I would like to offer, I wrote an article recently about this concept of migration in the post-COVID world. If folks want to get it, please just make sure they can reach out to me at OSC, Offshore Club, OSC at ecidevelopment.com. Will you put the link there so people can grab that article and download it?
Of course, you got it. That would be definitely a great read. I think even goes a little bit further into the weeds about what we're chatting about here. So definitely a great read for everybody.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Rachel. I'm glad you asked the question. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it. Again, very exciting topic. Big, huge future opportunities down a new path. And for the people who see that path, right? You talk about owning a piece of real estate to serve that digital nomad community, right? People who see that path, who can see where the future is going, right? Get out in front of it and take advantage of it. So yeah, well done. You're giving great counsel, Rachel.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Mike, for your insight as well. It's definitely a reality right now, and we look forward to having everybody down here at some point if you'd like to escape the cold or just visit us in the tropics. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Rachel.
For more information on the Offshore Club or to contact Mike Cobb, visit www.offshore.club today. www.offshore.club. That's www.offshore.club. See you next time at the Offshore Club.